Two of the common themes in real estate industry news is that prices are poised to drop, as if and the other one is the market is frozen, as if some proverbial we could unfreeze the market, prices would drop, sales would go up. Sounds to me like a real estate Santa Claus. Now, I'm Jewish. I never grew up as Santa Claus, but that's what it seems like to me. I don't think, if only it was that easy, I just don't think that it is. Before we get into that, though, let's start off with where the market is. And that way we can then take a look at the news and see is actually giving us information that's helping us make the right decisions. So if you take a look at I maintain there's two aspects to the economy. There's the supply and demand. Demand is the mortgage rates for buyers, and supply will be inventory for sellers. On the mortgage rates, again, we had a significant drop in the last week of about 0.25%. We were at 7.32% going into Thanksgiving holiday, and today we're at 7.09%. So after going up and up, above 7, almost to 8, and above 8 for a bit, it's come down over the last month down to 7.09%. Now, a lot of reasons why. War will cause rates to go down as people flee to certainty of the market. But what I will say is lower prices make houses more affordable. Lower mortgage prices, lower mortgage rates make homes more affordable by definition. And so that's going to drive up more demand or restore demand that normally might fall away at this time of the year. On the supply side, the inventory, we continue to have record low inventory, though it's getting closer to the other pandemic years. The record year 2021 still stands. Our current inventory is higher than that, but lower than 2022 and 2020, but lower than all pre-pandemic periods. So we still have historic low rates. And here's the key. Prices can't fall until there's more sellers than buyers, causing significant price cuts nationally. Now, there are some markets where there are price cuts, but right now, there's not enough inventory nationally overall, and I'll show you in Los Angeles, where I do business, that's the case. So this is the key factor to watch will be the inventory and how it affects us. Here in LA, the market continues to be slightly, ever so slightly, a seller's market. Altos Research has it as a 40. You can see a 30 would be a equal market. We've been as high as 42 and 43 all year long. 40 is the lowest we've been this year. So the market is starting to see more inventory. You can see down here, they look at different factors. Inventory is going up, but price per square foot is still healthy. $823 buys you the average square foot home in LA. Now they had been as high as $830, but had been as low as $812. So we're still in the same range. The cost of houses in Los Angeles is about the same. And for now, does not seem to be a significant drop in the market. Now, let's get into the information in the real estate industry news. One of my favorite sources is Steve Harvey. He has a company, Keeping Current Matters. And he highlighted the National Association Realtor survey of buyers and sellers on where they feel they get the most information. Now, you ask yourself where you get the best information from. Because and it's true, it is the National Association of Realtors. They're somewhat biased, obviously, but they're saying that 71% of our customers find our information useful. That's my experience. Many of you watch my weekly videos and emails and reply to me on that. Now, in their own device, in the news, they say about 60% is helpful. Online video sites drop dramatically. Open houses, less so. Why? Typically, open houses are often homes that are overpriced or in the market a long time. Same with yard signs. Print newspaper, obviously ads down lower. Books and magazines are dropping. Relocation companies dropping, billboard and television. So the vast majority of people find real estate agents either very useful or somewhat useful and find all the other sources less so. And I think that's why the news is attacking realtors, because they like to replace us, obviously, with robots and machines and take our commissions and split it up. The question is, what serves the customer better? I think for now, most customers feel like a professional realtor helps them the most. One of the other common themes is excitement in the real estate news with these real estate commission lawsuits. The premise they would have put forward is that real estate agents are somehow overpaid. The average agent in America the median agent doesn't close a deal. When you download the roster of real estate offices, less than half haven't closed a deal in the last year. Real estate agents don't make a lot of money as a general industry. Some of us do. They're professional and at the top of our game. So it's a constant theme to bag on real estate agents' commissions because news sources and websites like Zillow and Redfin would like to take the money and divide up amongst themselves. It's not they're altruistic. In fact, Redfin doesn't pay any taxes because they don't make a profit. But these lawsuits are a long ways from changing our industry. In fact, the second of the series of commission lawsuits won't even get started to the end of 2024. The famous lawsuit that came out in St. Louis probably won't have rulings until May of 2024. So if these lawsuits, and I don't think they will, I'm going to make a prediction video in a couple of weeks. I don't believe they will affect our industry significantly in the long run. But even if they do, these are years away from having any effect. You're not going to see that in the news because they were dancing, hoping that they could take all of our commissions and put it in their pocket. And at least for this week, that's not happening. Another group of people who I think want to tell you how they're going to solve the real estate problem and have done nothing but make it worse are politicians. Now, I in the past have cited some of the California politicians. Here's national politicians on the Hill. Congress can help make housing affordable. It just has to act. Well, that sounds noble, doesn't it? This is from former U.S. Senator, not even current, Rob Portman, I think from Ohio, and Robert Rubin, former Treasury Secretary. Now, these guys never swung a hammer, never sold a house to anybody. These were attorneys who became political hacks their whole lives. And really, they're just in a quest for power. And of course, they want the government to have more money because that way they get employed as their lobby money and their campaign contribution money, and their families get employed by these organizations. And they talk about in this article, what's fascinating is some little development in Cincinnati, which is nice. But even they admit that this is the first investment in the city in 2 decades that the government has done. And it's a drop in the bucket of the overall problem. And these two blowhard political hacks, lifetime political hacks, are promising that if the government acts, they could build 500,000 units when our economy is short today 3.8 million units. And every day as more families are formed, more immigration, we fall further and further behind. And so these political hacks with no basis say basically just give us your tax dollars and we'll solve your housing problem, even though we know nothing about housing. We've never built a house. We've never sold a house. But we know how to take your money and use it more effectively than you do. When really the solution should be just stop spending our tax dollars and let us keep more in our pocket than we can afford to buy houses. One of my favorite news articles you're not going to see very often reported, Redfin settles class action lawsuit over wages. Interesting. You'll notice it's a very small, unknown news source. You don't see this in major news. Like when Redfin, belches, all the real estate news covers everything they do. But here's a case where, they are caught with their pants down. Turns out Redfin had hired, when Redfin started, the premise was they were going to replace commission agents who were bad with their good employees. Now they lowered the commission, gave rebates to customers because you can't give good service with employees who aren't commissioned. It's kind of like restaurants where the waitresses don't get tips. You don't get good service. And so Redfin promised to lower the commission to the customer and have employees. And then what happens was, over time, they made their employees work as hard as real estate agents do after hours and weekends, which is really uncompensated overtime. And so they got sued and had to settle $3 million of commission to those 2,700 agents, about an average of $1,000 per agent that they underpaid. And I think the really important point here is, remember, Redfin was going to replace commission agents. They've not done it successfully. Now, they built a huge website, but they've lost over $1 billion of their investors' value over time. They've never made a profit, and more importantly, have never paid any taxes. And now they're caught underpaying their employees. So this is a company that has had a halo of good press because they advertise, and then all the press industry gives them good press. But the reality is they've not been a good citizen in our industry. And this is another example of Redfin, I think, acting out opposite what their claim is. The winner for this week's article that's most misleading and does the most to distract home buyers is Business Insider, which is one of those clickbait news organizations that gets a lot of attention on news issues. With their article, home prices are poised to drop. I love that phrase, poised to drop. We're going to talk about that. As the frozen housing market thaws. Two experts say. One expert's an economist from Moody's, their chief economist. And the other one is Redfin CEO. Now, he says the market's getting better, whereas he's all over the place. What's interesting is both of them say prices may decline. May decline. Not that they will. They're not projecting that. They're not predicting it. They're not going to be held accountable to a projection. They're just blabbering to make a news article. But here's the thing. Are home prices poised to drop? It makes you sound like, gee, I should go out and buy a house tonight because any minute the price could drop. We would jump on them right away. When the reality is, with the low inventory, housing prices don't seem like they're poised to drop at all. They're likely to stay the same or go up a little bit, if anything. Most projections for the next 12 months are slight, normally by historical standards, 1%, 2%, 3% increases in values, not drops. I'm not sure where they're getting that. And they say that the housing market is thawing. What does that mean? Now, they want to say that because rates are high, there are sellers who won't sell because the rates are low and they won't trade them in. That's got complete misreading. That's gone on over time. But what's really happening is when the economy is slower, less families are formed, less people get married, less have kids, less people getting promotions, less people making money in business, being able to afford a nicer, bigger place to live. And it's that upward mobility that creates movement throughout the industry. Absent that, the housing market activity slows down. It's no different than cars. It's no different than timeshares, no different than vacation rentals. When there's less money in the economy, there's less money spent. Less money spent means less sales. And again, you'll notice the consistent theme. All the news organizations, all the politicians, all the political actors want us to look at some magic market that's thawed or market that's frozen or prices poised to drop rather than the fundamentals, which is these people have taken our tax dollars and they continue to spend it. As a result, the government is borrowing money and they're competing with us. That's what's keeping rates high. Higher rates make it more expensive to buy a house. When it's more expensive, less people buy houses. It's not complicated. It really isn't. But none of these actors want to be part of that. They all want to act as though it's some sort of mystery. So what should you do? Well, at the end of the day, the real estate market really depends on what's best for you. It's a great time to sell if you want to sell. I just closed an escrow last week. I had another one closing this coming week because we priced it right. We worked hard. We negotiated hard. The sellers can get the money they wanted out of the property. It's also a good time to buy a property right now. There's a little less competition, though it's still competitive. You still got to put a good offer together. You still have to have your work done. But if you're looking to buy, there's a little more inventory now than there was certainly than 6 months ago or a year ago. So if I can help you, reach out. I'm at LAProbate on social media. Call, text, or email. Reply to this email if I can help you in any way. And as always, make today your best day ever. Thanks so much.